is the second coming postponable through righteousness?
Right after the destruction period in the United States, there will be a council at Adam-ondi-Ahman. So Adam-ondi-Ahman is a location. It's in Spring Hill, Missouri. And that's where Adam dwelt when he was cast out of the Garden of Eden.
So that's going to be the turning point. That's going to be the passing of the baton. And that is when Adam is actually going to take all of the keys that were passed down through him and through all of his descendants, and then ultimately through modernity back to Jesus Christ, almost as though like...
Right before his death, he called his children together and had a council or a conference with them, and the Lord appeared and blessed Adam.
The second coming will come when the people are prepared for it, both through, on the righteous side, their righteousness, on the wicked side, their wickedness. I'm getting ready for Jesus to come, baby. This episode is brought to you by Tiny 3D Temple, some of the coolest way to display your faith inside your home. Check out the description below for a coupon code. Now back to the video. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Word Radio. I'm your host, Cardon Ellis, and today I'm joined in the studio by a very interesting guest. We have none other than the man himself, Richard Brunson, who has written the book Before the Second Coming, available where all fine books are sold, about exactly that, the second coming. And we are going to be talking about one of the most, I don't know if esoteric, but definitely mysterious, controversial, misunderstood topics in all of Christendom, none other than the second coming of the Beatles. No, I'm just kidding. of Jesus Christ, right? And so I'm super excited to have you in the studio, and so many questions. I'm just going over your table of contents here, and I've already highlighted what looks like could be 7 new episodes. Chapter 4, what of the United States? I don't know if the United States has to do with the second coming, but that's pretty awesome. The return to lost 10 tribes, the sealing of the 144,000, the 7 trumpets, Armageddon, red in his apparel. I want to know about all of it. So let's just choose one. And you know what? Let's just go top to bottom. We're all Americans, not all of us listening to this, but many people listening to this program are American. What does the United States of America specifically have to do with the second coming, my man?
Well, it's good to be here, Cardon. First of all, thanks for having me. So this particular chapter that you are referencing is in reference to the destructions that are prophesied to happen in the United States of America specifically. So the earlier chapters in my book talk about destructions in general that are prophesied. This one deals specifically with the United States.
Okay. Like what? Like Detroit gonna get hit by that asteroid in Armageddon or what, bro? There's not a ton of specifics, but Zion has to be built in Jackson County, Missouri. And before that can happen, the scriptures say that we are going to build up the waste places of Zion, meaning that there's going to be destructions that occur throughout the land prior to this. Section 45 of the Doctrine and Covenants talks a lot about these destructions. It talks about plagues, overflowing scourges, natural disasters, earthquakes, things like that. Those things kind of cleanse the land, prepare the way for us to build Zion. So when we return to that area, we can do so. So, that's what that chapter's on, is kind of the specific destructions in that area and in other places in the United States. Okay, so I read a quote here. President Wilford Woodruff added, "The American nation will be broken into pieces like a potter's vessel and will be cast down to hell if it does not repent. And this because of murders, whoredoms, wickedness, and all manner of abominations, for the Lord has spoken it." So if you just take that at face value and think that the second coming is some kind of if-then statement, whether or not we repented of our murders, whoredoms, wickedness, and all manner of abominations would determine whether or not he actually came down and, quote, broke into pieces like the potter's vessel, the United States of America, which then begs a question. is the second coming something that can be postponed through our righteousness? Or is it like a predetermined date that's just going to happen? Because commentary like this from President Wilford Woodruff conditionally states the American nation will be broken into pieces like a potter's vessel and will be cast down to hell if it does not repent, which carries a big, thick insinuation that if it does repent, that it won't be broken into pieces.
Sure.
And being broken into pieces kind of is contingent. It seems to be like a necessary qualification of the second coming. So is the second coming postponable through righteousness?
Potentially. I think it's 3 Nephi 21 gives that same scenario. The Lord says this is what's going to happen if you don't repent, but he also gives a second scenario that this is what will happen if you do. And they are two different scenarios. So yeah, potentially we could go down a different path for sure.
Okay. All right. So keep talking. Is that it? We were done with that chapter? Just, well, there's some prophecies or
Yeah, so the thing to understand with this is obviously there's a covenant on this land. And when I talk about this land, I'm talking about North and South America. Whether it was, Noah, who, the wickedness that was destroyed at the flood, or the Jaredites or the Nephites and Lamanites, like a lot of the civilizations that have been on the American continent have been destroyed. And so there's a covenant here that we have to keep the commandments or be wiped off. And so we're the next to live on this land. And so
now, do you think that North and South America are actually unique in their promise, or they're just the promised land because Nephi had to get out of there and had to go somewhere, and this somewhere was what the Lord had provided? Because, for example, I guess I kind of always have viewed the promised land as being very symbolic and also conditional. For example, if my neighborhood's so horrible here in Los Angeles and just the schools suck, there's gangs on the streets, my kids don't have a future, and I need to just save up that little bit of money that I can save every month to hopefully be able to afford the move into a different neighborhood, that neighborhood now is my promised land. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, whether that's in Utah or Tennessee or Florida or Palmdale, for all I care, that land becomes the promised land because of the escape that it provides from my current negative situation and the promise that the Lord has made me that if I obey the law of the harvest, I will be blessed. If I focus on my family and not on worldly endeavors, that I will be blessed, so on and so forth. It's not because actually Tennessee, Florida, or Palmdale have a unique gift or a unique promise, or does it? Like, do you actually think that like North and South America are unique because of their geography and they've always been viewed as unique, and that's why civilizations that haven't been on good terms with God have always failed? Or do you think it just happens to be that North and South America were the promised land of Nephi, as I have a tendency to think, because he had to escape somewhere, and unless he's going to Antarctica, North and South America is it, because Europe and Africa and Asia at that point were already kind of claimed by the people and the contemporaries he was familiar with, right?
Yeah, and I think it could be both. Obviously, the Lord used North and South America and kept it hidden for so long and had a special purpose for these lands, and that's pretty obvious if you read the Book of Mormon. And so I think it's probably more the first, but I don't know. I wouldn't. I mean, there's nothing special about the dirt itself, right? It's the people that live on here and make those covenants with God to obey His commandments. So I think that's what's important.
Okay, what the heck is Adam-ondi-Ahman?
Okay, so
now that we're talking about America, we got to get that out of the way. What the heck is Adam-ondi-Ahman?
Okay, so right after the destruction period in the United States, there will be a council at Adam-ondi-Ahman. So Adam-ondi-Ahman is a location. It's in Spring Hill, Missouri, and that's where Adam dwelt when he was cast out of the Garden of Eden. And so right before his death, he called his children together and had a council or a conference with them, and the Lord appeared and blessed Adam and so forth. So Joseph Smith says that there will be another conference held at the same location in the last days. and this prior to the building up of Zion. In my book, I place it right after the destruction and right before the building up of Zion, because this council, it's the way that we prepare for the second coming. Joseph Smith said, the Council of Adam-ondi-Ahman, the purpose of it is to prepare us for the second coming. And it's done. The reason why is because it's at this point, all the keys are turned back over to Adam, and then Adam gives all the keys of the priesthood to Jesus Christ. And from this point forward, Christ can establish his millennial government on the earth, first among the saints, and we will build Zion, and then later it will spread to the rest of the world during the millennium.
Okay, wait, repeat that really fast. That Adam will turn over all the keys to how did Jesus Christ not already have all the keys? Huh?
Yeah, so Joseph Smith said that Adam had the keys of the universe, and from Adam they were passed down to his descendants, and so it'd be like a symbolic thing, not necessarily like Adam can do something that Jesus Christ can't. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So all the keys were passed down from Adam, and then at this conference we're all going to kind of reverse that and pass them back up to Adam, and when he has them, Christ will appear again like he did in the first conference, and turn the keys over to Jesus Christ, and this will allow him to rule on the earth and establish his government. Joseph Fielding Smith, essentially said that at this point Satan's governments will be cast down, and there will be a transition of power from Lucifer, the usurper, and to Jesus Christ, and Christ will personally be able to rule and reign with his government, because right now it's Satan's world, right? This is his world and his governments, but at this point that's going to shift, and so that is the key for us to build Zion. We have to go through that process first, because that's what allows us to actually build Zion. So
at this big meeting at Adam-ondi-Ahman is when the shift will happen from this being basically the Satan influenced world to being the kind of the paradise foretold in the book of Revelation and in all of the revelations that precede the second coming. That is actually
the turning point.
That's the turning point. Yep. Okay, I was literally going to make a sports analogy. When they're passing the baton in like the 4x4 in track and field. So that's going to be the turning point. That's going to be the passing of the baton, and that is when Adam is actually going to take all of the keys that were passed down through him and through all of his descendants, and then ultimately through modernity back to Jesus Christ, almost as though like your work and your glory is nearing completion. We're giving you back the keys to the car, for lack of a better term, of humanity. Yeah. And that's when all of a sudden, it's almost like at the end of Moana when everything starts turning green, right? And it just becomes a paradise. Now, hey guys, we're going to press pause just for 1 second to remind you guys this episode is also sponsored by scripturenotes.com, the coolest way of reading your scriptures online. If you guys want a free 14-day trial, please visit scripturenotes.com. Also, mention us in the checkout for a small discount. Links will be in the description. Roll tape. Some prophecies about what Satan can do end up kicking in as well, right? Because I know there's some revelation somewhere that says like we will look upon him and say, is this the one that made the earth tremble? Mm-hmm. And we'll look upon Satan and just be like, I can't believe. It's like the banality of evil, right? This is really what we were worried about. And so I'm just wondering, where is Satan when all of this happened? Is he just angry outside banging on the door of Adam-ondi-Ahman? Like, what's he doing?
Unfortunately, the prophecies don't mention that specifically, so we can only speculate, but I assume he'll be cast out, So, I mean, but yeah, that's the turning point, so.
Okay, sorry, you were going to say something?
No,
I was going to ask another question. Okay. What's Adam-ondi-Ahman going to look like? Like, are we going to have to build a big building there? Like, I know, for example, in a lot of the older temples, the cool ones, the based ones, they used to build it with the big general assembly hall. Have you ever been in one of those?
Nope.
Okay, so like the Los Angeles temple, for example, it's like the entire third floor or the fourth floor. This thing is football fields long. Okay. I'm not kidding you. Okay, football fields. And it's so large that there's actually a podium with a giant stand that can hold like 20 or 30 area authorities over there, and then a giant pulpit with a huge stand where you can hold like 20 or 30 area authorities over there. And it used to be that apparently, according to prophecy, there was some kind of prophecy that like the body of the priesthood would have to be united, and they assumed that would be in the temples. So they were literally trying to build an area in the temple where every priesthood holder in that temple area could come and could meet and have a meeting, because that's how you used to do things, was, you know, to show up and have a meeting. So literally, this thing has to be hundreds of feet wide and hundreds of feet long, and just this massive, big, beautiful room. And it's awesome. And they don't even use it now because we got satellites, right? Mm-hmm. But some of the earliest temples had the big general assembly, right? So isn't Adam-ondi-Ahman the ultimate of the big general assembly rooms? Like, what are all the prophecies of Adam-ondi-Ahman? Like, what does it mean?
Sure. So first of all, Daniel says that there will be 100 million people there, which is quite a big number. How are we going to fit all that? I don't know, but it'll probably be from both sides of the veil. It's probably not going to be 100 million mortals there, right? But prophets of the past and saints of the past from the other side of the veil will probably make up that number. How they're going to fit everyone in there, I don't know, but nothing is impossible to the Lord. So
100 million people there?
That's what Daniel says, yeah.
Okay, so what is the church doing with Adam-ondi-Ahman now? I know there's like old fogey missionaries that get called just to like mow grass there. For like 18 months, they just straight up mow grass,
yeah.
You know, waiting for Jesus to come. Like, are we all just going to walk out into some field? Or like, what is actually going to happen? There's going to be a meeting, right?
Yeah, and this is not, it's not an invitation for all the saints. We should probably point that out. This is just for the people who have held keys, you know, prophets and apostles and things. So general membership of the body of the saints, we probably won't even know about it. It's going to be as a thief in the night, and you know, we'll probably find out sometime after.
Wait, so the meeting at Adam-ondi-Ahman is only for
those who've held keys,
but kind of hasn't almost everybody that has the priesthood held some kind of keys for something, right?
Yeah, but when you're released, you give them back, and you know, you don't hold them anymore. So again, that specific question is not answered entirely on who's going to be there, but you know, I think it's going to be a church leadership party, not just a church membership party, right? Yeah, I think that's probably closer to the truth. That kind of sucks. Yeah. Like, I mean, it just, I just kind of think, well, there's plenty of faithful members that don't currently have keys. Like Brittany's dad, for example, he was a bishop of one of the wards, and he was a stake president. She's got another grandpa that was like a mission president. Those are some like really insanely high keys, right? Well, they've also been released and moved, and now in their new wards, they're like ward greeters. You know, they're like serving. I'm sorry, what'd you say? Oh, it's going to be a bro fest. Yeah. Off screen, somebody was commenting it's going to be a bro fest. Well, yeah, it's kind of be a bro fest, but also like you'd think it's supposed to be people that are righteous and worthy, I would assume, right? Because there's plenty of people that have had keys in the past that maybe don't currently have them now. Brittany's dad, for example, is serving in not an old fogey mission. That's kind of a disrespectful term. What's it called? A senior couple mission, right? Is serving a senior couple mission. Do you have keys as a senior couple missionary? No, that would be, you know, bishops have keys. You know, not every church calling has keys. So it's more for a leadership role is what the keys are for. Huh. Okay. All of a sudden, Adam-ondi-Ahman just does not seem half as exciting. It's just going to be like, it's just going to be a live priesthood meeting or what? Yeah, of course, Christ will appear. Elder McConkie said that there will probably be a lot of meetings, sacrament meetings. You know, Christ did not partake of the sacrament in the upper room, and he said that would be at a future day, and a lot of people believe that will be at Adam-ondi-Ahman when he partakes of that sacrament. So, yeah, lots of meetings, but the primary purpose of it is to prepare the saints to build Zion. Wow. So if the purpose of it is to keep the saints
to build Zion. Isn't Zion already built by that time? Because that's the church. This is Zion. It's sometimes a place, but it's also sometimes a people. Like, we don't start.
Sure, and maybe I should say the New Jerusalem instead of Zion, because Zion does have different definitions.
Okay.
But the New Jerusalem will be built in Jackson County, Missouri, with the temple at the center. And that's and I do talk about the redemption of Zion in the book and what that entails and what it looks like.
Okay, man, I swear, I have so many questions for you, and we only have 3 minutes left. Can you tell me the basics of like what this New Jerusalem is?
Yeah, in Jackson County, Missouri, after the cleansing of the land and after the Council of Adam-ondi-Ahman, we're going to return there. It's kind of I like to think of it as, the church's headquarters will move from Salt Lake City to Jackson County, Missouri. Brigham Young said we're not all going there, but a select group of people will go to build that city and the temple. And according to the history of the church, once that city is full, we're going to build other cities, 15 to 20,000 people per city. A temple will be at the center. And so there will be lots of different cities of Zion throughout the United States and North and South America, and eventually will fill the world. But the center stake of Zion, the headquarters, will be Jackson County, Missouri, with a humongous temple in the middle, and then there will be Zion cities kind of surrounding it. So the glory of the Lord will be there. Isaiah talks about, the glory of the Lord will be for a defense upon every home in Zion. Quite a time to look forward to.
Wow, interesting. So wouldn't we then be able to surmise, and I'm just kind of making logical conclusions here. I shouldn't even say conclusions. I'm geometrically proofing the second coming. All right. If the New Jerusalem that is prophesied in what book again?
Well, a lot of the prophets talk about the New Jerusalem. Brigham Young talks about, building the New Jerusalem in Jackson County, Missouri.
And it's mentioned in the book of Revelation, right? Or is the book of Daniel? Where is it mentioned in the Bible?
Yeah, it's Revelation talks about the New Jerusalem, sure.
Okay, excellent. So if the New Jerusalem, we believe, is going to be in Jackson County, Missouri, according to prophecies of Joseph Smith or whomever, mm-hmm. And I don't mean to be dismissive. I'm just saying I know there's been a lot of talk on the New Jerusalem. If that's going to be in Jackson County, Missouri, and it's going to be, as you say, little cities of 20,000 with a temple in the center, and that's Zion that has to be built. If it's not even close to that right now, because it's kind of very fragmented, and like when you go there's like 7 churches around the temple lot that are all like, claiming their little slice of the pie and everything. It doesn't seem like there's any kind of unification. Is Christ's coming going to establish that unification, or can we kind of look at it right now and say, because moves aren't getting made in Jackson County, Missouri, maybe we got plenty of time left?
Well, we don't know how we're going to get there. Those are the prophecies, how it's going to look like between here and there. I outline it as much as I can in the book. Obviously, there's going to be a period of destruction, and then this Council of Adam-ondi-Ahman. But, we don't know a whole lot about that other than that. So.
Okay, and then last question, I guess, or before we go. What about all these people moving to Missouri, bro? Like, what about them? Are you, do you think we should just do it just for fun? Because apparently, there's, a legitimate amount of a lot of people that are moving to Jackson, Missouri, bro. Or Jackson County, Missouri.
I don't know, man. Are they moving to, be the first to build Zion, or what's the?
Apparently, there's. I have multiple friends that are there, and okay, so I think there's a lot of people that are members of the church that are just trying to escape the expensive housing costs in the West. And if you can't move to Utah, why not move to the next best thing, Missouri, right? If you can't move from one place of God's people, why not in the next? There's just a growing contingent. Like in Springville, Missouri, we just had Rick McGee on the show recently, and he's lived his entire life, like multi-generational Missourian, right? And he says, yeah, dude, we're having to split stakes all the time. words are splitting, stakes are splitting. The growth out here is absolutely absurd. Some of it is because I think a lot of people are looking for lower housing prices. If you lived in California in the 90s and the early 2000s, by the time COVID rolled around, man, you could move out of you could sell your home for $1.5 million in Southern California, move up to Utah and buy 3 houses. And then we drove up all of your real estate there for like 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Now things have calmed down. And Utah's not the deal that it used to be. Utah housing is almost it's almost just as expensive as California housing without any of the benefits, right? So a lot of people have been priced out of the market in Utah and thinking, okay, where can we go? And I know for a fact there's like a lot of people that are legitimately considering Missouri because they're like, well, there's lots of Mormons and hey, there are some prophecies, you know? So I think some of it is just banal and commonplace economics having not much more to do with religiosity other than, gee whiz, seems like it would be cool, right? However, there's also just like a lot of people that are legit like buying up ranch land and just like saying like, I'm getting ready for Jesus to come, baby. And I just think like that's awesome. They're taking their religion that seriously, but also it's like, I don't know if I'd bet on it yet because I really think that through our righteousness, the second coming will come when the people are prepared for it, both through on the righteous side, their righteousness, and on the wicked side, their wickedness. And that very much seems to be a pendulum that swings. People get better, but then they also get sicker, but then they also get better, but then they also get sicker. And it's hard to say whether or not that's going to be 3 years from now, 3 millennia from now, so on and so forth. I know there's hardcore purists that say, no, it's going to happen 2035 because Jesus Christ said it's happening 2,000 years after he came, and he died somewhere between 2033 and 2038. So I'm guessing 2035. And I know there's people that are like hardcore like that. And then there's others that look at the Book of Mormon and the Bible and say, okay, well, when righteousness was taught and the gospel was preached by the righteous with fervor, society improved and got better. And then these conditional prophecies kicked in and the blessings of the Lord kicked in. And then also the curses of the Lord and the fulfillment of all the negative prophecies were postponed. Why couldn't that happen now? So I think there's 2 factions. The more religiously zealous factions that are thinking, I'm getting ready for Jesus. And then there's just the other people that are like, Sandy, Utah's gotten too expensive, right? And are going that way. So I don't know, which one would you be? Would you buy land in? I don't know. Do you think it's a safe bet? You think it's going down in Jackson, Missouri anytime soon?
It probably doesn't matter either way. You follow the prophet, listen to the Spirit. I think you'll be fine. I don't think there's a strategy to building Zion. I think we just wait on the Lord.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, sick. Well, the name of his book, guys, is Before the Second Coming. The author is Richard Brunson, and it's got all the cool deets and some really interesting chapters in here. Anything you want to say about the book before we take a little break here, man?
Yeah, I give a free chapter download available at beforethesecondcoming.com. So if you go there, you can download a chapter on the Battle of Armageddon. It's a really fun chapter. And you can read that for free and test drive the car and see if you like it. So.
All right, wicked. Well, we're going to have to do that. So, guys, check it out one last time. It's Before the Second Coming, written by Richard Brunson. He's here live in studio now. But do you read the audiobook download thingy, or is it just it's all visual?
There's an audiobook available soon. I did not read it. I didn't have the time, so I hired a voice actor.
Oh, okay, cool. Hopefully an Englishman. Englishman. Yeah. That'd be awesome. All right, so get the book, guys. Let us know what you guys think about this if you do get the book. I love this subject, and I want to know more, and it's so cool being a member of our church because of the additional light and knowledge and also just cool prophecies having to do the second coming. So if you guys get the book, please please let us know what you guys think in the comments below. If you want to support the channel, please make sure you check us out on our Amazon wish list. If you're a person of means, please check us out on Venmo or on Zelle. We're available on both those platforms. Or pick up a shirt or a Beloved War in Heaven veteran hat, available in both those platforms. Either way, it's been real and it's been fun, and it's been real fun. For this and more, please make sure you guys check us out at wardradio.com.